everyone, welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be kind of doing just a solo Carolina Hurricanes video. So if you don't like the Hurricanes or you hate the Hurricanes, this isn't the video for you. No hard feelings if you don't want to watch, but I'm going to be talking a little bit of Hurricanes. So I want to give you my favorite players for the Hurricanes, kind of like what I did with my top favorite players throughout the entire league. I want to go back and do like a team roster kind of thing throughout the entire franchise of the Hurricanes. And yeah, so it'll be 14 forwards, 8 defensemen, and 3 goalies. Alright, so my fandom of the Hurricanes doesn't go back too far. It's still pretty new, like in terms of them being my favorite team, but the Hurricanes are always a team that I've always enjoyed watching, with kind of an exception between 2013 and 2016. They were really boring, and I hated their home jersey at that time, and even their road jersey. But yeah, 2002, I don't really remember a whole lot about the Cup run. I didn't watch a lot of hockey that year. Just had some other kind of stuff going on a little bit. But I remember them winning Game 1. I think they won Game 1. And I think it was Ron Francis that I remember who got absolutely just destroyed and couldn't even make it back to the bench. Not sure if that was in the final or not. 2006, though, was kind of when it really started, and that was because they were playing against the Edmonton Oilers. I just moved to Calgary pretty recently, and I really hated the Oilers. At this point in my life, I'm not going to say I really hate any team, because I don't, but at that point I was like a venomous hatred towards the Edmonton Oilers, and it really wasn't because of the Hurricanes were a team that I really enjoyed watching. I just was so happy to see a team beat the Oilers. And from there, it kind of just took off. Like 2009 was a lot of fun to watch. They got my favorite player, UC Jokinen, and the run that he went on in 2009 was just out of this world fantastic and so much fun to watch, and a lot of great memories doing that. And then they got Jordan Stahl from Pittsburgh. I really liked Jordan Stahl in Pittsburgh, so he was kind of easy to cheer for. I always liked Eric Stahl as well. And yeah, they've just had a bunch of players that I really liked. I'm going to try to do this kind of in that format that I did previously, where I do 14 forwards, 8 defensemen, and 3 goalies. So kind of like a team roster. But there's a whole bunch of players on here that are not listed that I really liked. So I'll kind of put those players at the end, just like a list format or something, of who I kind of considered for this list. But we'll kind of just get it started. Oh, one player I'm not ranking, but he was kind of the reason that I really started to like the Hurricanes, but I kind of feel wrong ranking him just because he did pass away in the locomotive plane crash. That was Joseph Vasicek. He was the one who really kind of, that I kind of gravitated towards during their 2006 run, and I really, really liked Vasicek. I even have like a little number 63 tattooed on my arm because I really liked him. And I've had that tattoo since probably 2011 when they passed away in that plane crash. So I don't feel right kind of ranking him, but we're going to start out with the goalies. Number 3, Kevin Weeks. I always really liked Kevin Weeks, and especially in Carolina. His pads were just something I always really liked in Carolina. Pretty much almost any team he played for, to be honest. But specifically in Carolina, they were amazing. And yeah, just very easy to cheer for. Number 2, I'm taking Cam Ward. He probably would have been number 1 for a long time, but right now he's number 2. His run that he went on in 2006 and onwards, again, very easy to cheer for. I always was able to get behind him. I had a lot of friends who just didn't seem to like him, but they didn't really have any reason not to like him. I always thought he was a lot of fun to watch, whether it was for the Hurricanes or the short stint he had with the Blackhawks, or playing for Team Canada in the World Championships. I just always really liked him. Again, something he had in common with Kevin Weeks. I always really liked his pads, especially early on in his career. Number 1, my favorite goalie for the Hurricanes that I've ever played, Peter Marazzic. I absolutely love Marazzic. I don't think he might be there next year, but until they get someone that kind of can surpass him, he will be my favorite Hurricanes goalie. A lot of great memories watching him in the World Juniors, actually getting to see him play live, and how happy he was whenever the Czechs would win. Always stayed with me. I always cheered for him in Detroit. Not so much Philadelphia, but as soon as he went back to Carolina, game over. He was so much fun to cheer for and so much fun to watch. I absolutely love Marazzic. Alright, so the defenseman. Number 8, I'm taking the new guy, Yanni Hackenpaw. Big, strong Finnish defenseman, handsome young man, and a lot of fun to watch. He's not the most graceful defenseman out there, and at times he honestly kind of looks like he really doesn't want the puck. He kind of throws it away, but there's something about him I really enjoy watching, and honestly I really didn't know about him until he came to Carolina. I'd heard about him a few times in Anaheim. I'd watched a couple Anaheim games just because I like watching their jerseys, and I would hear that name, Hackenpaw, every now and then. I'm like, that's kind of a fun name, but yeah, I've really liked him in Carolina, and honestly I would like to get a Yanni Hackenpaw jersey. Number 7, the guy he was traded for, Hayden Fleury. I really liked Hayden Fleury. I was really sad to see him get traded. I wish him absolutely nothing but the best in Anaheim, and yeah, he made a big impact in a short little while. Again, maybe not the most offensive, but I feel like he maybe just didn't get the ice time that he maybe should have, or something. I don't know what it was. It just didn't work out in Carolina, so hopefully it works out for him in Anaheim. Number 6, coming over with me, I pretty much got traded with him from the Rangers to the Hurricanes as a favorite team, Brady Shay. I really liked him in New York, and I was honestly shocked when the Rangers traded him. And I think he's fit in quite nicely, especially this season with the Carolina Hurricanes, and I really like him. And again, I would consider definitely getting a jersey for him as well. Number 4, who I think is probably their best defenseman right now, Jaccob Slavin. I love watching Slavin play, and that play that him and Hamilton made to get the game-tying goal in Game 6 against Nashville, he's so good. One of the best players to watch, like, with his stick. He's such a good and so strong on his stick. It's a lot of fun to watch him play defense, and he's got a little bit of offensive upside, and I really like watching him play. All right, so number 3, Dennis Eidenberg. Now, honestly, I kind of remember Seidenberg more as like a Boston Bruin or New York Islander. Maybe that's because it's more recent, but I always really, really liked him in Carolina. I thought he was fantastic, very solid defenseman, and yeah, just a lot of fun to watch. Number 2, Yanni Pitkanen. I love my Finns, and Yanni Pitkanen was a lot of fun to watch. I definitely remember him having a pretty big impact in 2009, and I think he got like stretchered out at one point, or like really injured or something. I'm not sure if that was in the 2009 playoffs, but I remember him getting stretchered off at some point in his career in Carolina, which was never fun to see. But yeah, I really liked watching Yanni Pitkanen play, and I wish he would have been a Hurricane for a lot longer than he was. And my favorite defenseman, I think, for the Carolina Hurricanes, Bret Pesci. I really like watching Bret Pesci play. Very good on the penalty kill. He's just an all-around solid defenseman. He doesn't put up a lot of offensive numbers, but I just really like watching him play. He's got a really solid game. Moving on to the forwards. Starting off with number 14. He wasn't there for very long, but I really liked Ryan Desingle as a Hurricane. I really liked him in Columbus. I really liked him in Ottawa, and I still like him in Ottawa after getting traded back. He's one of those players that I really like, and even though he wasn't a Hurricane for long, I thought he had a decent impact. Hurricanes fans might disagree with me on that, but just kind of personal preference. I really like him as a player. Number 13, I kind of feel a bit of sacrilege putting him down this low, but he's a franchise player that this team has had, Ron Francis. I honestly kind of preferred him in Pittsburgh over Carolina, but I think at the time it was mostly just because I was a Pittsburgh fan. And yeah, very, very good. One of the best players of all time in the history of the NHL. Very, very solid. Absolutely loved when he kind of came back to Carolina, and he couldn't have number 10 because Gary Roberts had it, so he took number 21. I don't know why that's always stuck with me, but I always wanted a Ron Francis number 21 jersey. And yeah, one of the best all time. Number 12, he wasn't there for very long either, but he definitely helped win the Stanley Cup, Marc-andre. Maybe this kind of goes back to a little bit of the Ron Francis thing. He played for Pittsburgh for a long time. I've always loved Marc-andre. He's one of my all-time favorite players. And yeah, he was fantastic for Carolina. Although, like I said, he wasn't there for very long. Number 11, Sergey Samsonoff. A lot of fun to watch. Just a wizard with the puck, and just a hard-nosed player. Gritty, but still had a lot of skill to him. Really liked watching him play. Number 10, current Hurricane, and who's going on the green Hartford jersey over there, Tabo Terevinen. So much fun to watch. I'm shocked that Carolina was able to kind of get him from Chicago. I think Chicago probably would love to have him back right now. He's such a unbelievable passer, and the chemistry that he has with Ajo is spectacular. Absolutely, so much fun to watch him and Ajo play together. Number 9, I think this one might be a little controversial, but Alex Semin. I loved watching Semin play, whether it was in Washington or very, very, very brief stint in Montreal, or him in Carolina. I just really liked watching him play, which is not good, I think. He was not a very motivated player. Like, he had all the talent in the world. Like, there's multiple cases of players stating, like, he's probably one of the most talented players they've ever seen. But he has zero work ethic, which drives you absolutely mental. But he was fun to watch, and I've enjoyed still watching some highlights from the KHL and watching him play. One of the best wrist shots I've ever seen, and it's just maddening how little he cared at times. But I enjoyed watching him play, so I have to put him on this list. Number 8, and if I was doing this for the Calgary Flames, he would probably be number 1 or number 2, but I didn't really get to see a whole lot of him in Carolina because he was kind of in that dead era where it was just really boring hockey. Elias Lindholm. I think Lindholm is one of the most exciting players to watch, and I think he's Calgary's best player. And I could only just imagine how he would be right now playing for this team. Like, it would just be so much fun to watch. But yeah, I kind of caught him in the tail end in that first season in 2017 when I kind of started paying attention to the Hurricanes a little bit. They weren't the Tom Dundon Hurricanes at that point, but they were kind of getting there, and Lindholm was a big reason I kind of came back to watching the Hurricanes after that couple of years where I just had zero interest in them. Number 7, and I think he's going to probably end up in the top 3 at some point, Marty Nachos. He is so much fun to watch. The way he can just motor, and he just goes with the puck, and man, like, this season was kind of a bit of a breakout year for him. Very underrated player in the NHL, and I think after Game 5 against Nashville, a lot of people start paying more attention to him. Number 6, Swiss player, Nino Niederreiter. I've always really liked Nino Niederreiter. Even before he was drafted by the Islanders, I was so disappointed that he got drafted by them, because I'm not a big Islanders fan. And seeing him get traded to to Minnesota made me a lot happier. He had a really good time in Minnesota. And then when he got traded to Carolina, I was honestly pleasantly surprised. Bit of a crap year last year. I think he only had, like 10 or 11 goals. But then this season, absolutely killed it and had a fantastic year. And I will always like Nino Niederreiter wherever he plays. Number 5, we're going back with another Finn here. Sami Kapanen. I really like his son, Kasperi. I wish he would come and play for Carolina, but I really liked Sami Kapanen. Just very skilled, hard player, and yeah, I would love to get a Sami Kapanen jersey, whether it was for Carolina or Philadelphia, whatever. I would love to get a Kapanen jersey. Number 4, this one's, I don't know. I love Andrei Svechnikov, so I have him at number 4, but at times, like, he's also kind of maddening to watch. When he has zero confidence, he is just invisible out there, and you can see him get, like, visibly frustrated, and it's really kind of disheartening to watch. But as soon as he gets, like, one lucky bounce or just drives to that and gets a goal or creates something for himself and his confidence takes off, he is so much fun to watch, and I wish him absolutely nothing but the best. And when he does those lacrosse goals, man, just puts a smile on my face every time he even tries it. Number 3, Ray Whitney. He was a big reason why I enjoyed watching the Hurricanes so much in 2009, and even when they won the Cup in 2006. He's just always been one of my favorite players, regardless of what team it was for Columbus, or I think there was a brief stint in Detroit, Dallas, Phoenix, San Jose. I don't really remember him in San Jose too much, to be honest, but again, one of those players that I've followed throughout his whole career, and I absolutely loved him in Carolina. That was probably my favorite spot that he played. Number 2, Sebastian Ajo. This one is pretty easy. He might even eventually take over number 1. I think he's got a long ways to go for that, but Ajo is the reason why right now the Hurricanes are my favorite team. He is absolutely out of this world. I can't really say anything bad about him. It's just amazing watching him play. He's such a smart player, and I wish more people kind of paid attention to him because he's very, very underrated, I think, as well throughout the entire NHL. Number 1, no surprise if you know me, Jussi Jokinen. He wasn't there for very long either, from 2009 to 2013. but he had his best seasons probably in the NHL with Carolina. That 09 run was just absolutely something magical that I'll never forget. And yeah, pretty easy choice, honestly, for number 1, UC Jokinen. I'm also going to mention that even though he's not on this list, as much as I did like Brendan Moore as a player, I like him even better as a coach. So I figure like I would make him the coach of this team. Brendan Moore is probably, yeah, I would say the best coach the Hurricanes have ever had. I know they've had some really good ones before. Paul Maurice comes to mind. And Peter Laviolette, who won the Cup with the Hurricanes. But I just really like Rob Brendan Moore. He just seems like he would run through a brick wall for his players, which is awesome. But let me know who are some of your favorite Hurricanes players throughout their franchise's history. Were you surprised by anyone on my list? Or if you kind of know me pretty well, this is, I feel like, a pretty standard me list. But thank you very much again for watching. I really appreciate it. And I cannot wait to see the Hurricanes go into the second round against Tampa. By the time you see this video, Game 1 should be already over with. But yeah, go Canes.